Hey class, this is Charlie. I'm recording this video to share with you a conversation that was an answer, started out as an answer to a question that occurred on Wednesday night in the Bellevue class. Uh, I was discussing the roles of requirements and how the user story is a superior way to record requirements than the old school, the system shall, the system will type of a requirement. And the question was brought up, and it's a really good question. So what should a user story look like? How is it structured? What's in a user story? What is it all about? I thought that was a really good question, and it spawned a bit of a conversation, and I diagrammed some things on the board about what it might look like. And I thought it would be a good idea at the time to capture this so that we can utilize this in class. It seemed to be of interest to most of the class in Bellevue, and we stayed and worked through this for a few minutes later on Wednesday night. So the question was, what's in a user story? What does a user story look like? And here's sort of a framework for a user story. I always think of a user story as having a good title. So the user story has a title at the top, or it's the name of the user story card, if you will, and it is something in text that relates directly to a feature. In other words, don't give it just a number. Don't say user story number 23. You could say that, but you should also, if you did do that, you would want to have a description really close by. And the idea would be, so you could say user story 23, but user story 23, for example, if that's the number, or user story 1 or 2, needs to have a good description. And so the name might be user story 23, but the title of it would be something that relates directly to a feature. Then I went into a little bit of detail about what is the user story structure. What should we be looking for there? And the basic structure that I related to people was that there is usually, this is how it is written, as a, and then what would go next is the role. So as a supervisor, as a user, as a customer, etc., as a role, I want, and this would be the feature. So as a role, I want this feature so that there is this benefit. Everything that we write needs to have a motivation or a rationale for being. We don't just do things because of nothing. We're spending the time, the money, the effort to do something that's going to realize benefit for the organization. Then I went on and described how we would talk about, we would provide to the reader a current state. In other words, how are things done today? And then there would also be a future state. Which is really just another way of saying how things should work in the future. And then there is the delta. That which is this has to do with these things which we will have in the future that we don't have today. This is that we have to have. That is not present in our current system. So that we can be able, we would be able to say that the system has a new drop-down text box. It has a new button. There is a new message. there's a whole new screen that didn't exist before, and on that screen these would be all of the components of that screen. So I know we're talking with what seems to be a lot of software related things, but it doesn't have to be. It could be there is a porch, there is a kitchen sink, there are tires which don't go flat, and if they should get punctured, they run well when flat. It could be automotive, it could be anything. But these are the things that we don't have today. And the idea here would be then to provide as much information about how things work today. And perhaps this would be a screenshot if it was software, or perhaps a model of how we want a structure, a function, or feature to work, and perhaps a wireframe if the existing system is just not available to depict for some reason. It shouldn't happen, but if you can't give someone an actual example because either you don't have user access or the system's not available to you at this moment, then provide at least a loose wireframe of how things work today. Then you would provide perhaps a mocked up screenshot. Perhaps I'm able to take the text that we wanted, or the image or the button that we wanted, and perhaps I'm able to mock it up on a screen, and I'm able to show exactly where the position I was thinking of, what color it might be. And so this would be perhaps a mocked up screenshot, or a model of a workflow, or of a network diagram, or of a decision model, etc. And then if not that, then perhaps a wireframe of the future situation. Okay? To support that, I would then have acceptance criteria. So acceptance criteria are the way we are going to test that the new solution meets the requirement, the desired functionality is a list of those things that the new feature is going to have. In other words, this is how we will test that the future feature works as desired. Okay? So this is the overall structure that I wanted to share with you, and I thought what we could do is together, using this structure, we'd be able to quickly write up a user story or have the ability to share one. So I'm going to provide just to mix things up, I'll change the color. I'm going to provide a user story title, and let's say that we want to add let's say we want to add to the shopping cart of an e-commerce solution. We want to be able to save the things we put in our cart in our wish list. So add wish list to cart. And the user story here would be something along these lines. As a customer, I want a way to, or perhaps I want to be able to share the items in my cart to my wish list so that I can return to the site and complete my purchase later, or share the contents of my wish list with others to inform them about the items I wish to purchase. I wish, because perhaps I'd like them to purchase for me as a birthday gift. I wish to own. Okay? Great. There's the user story structure. And then currently there is no wish list feature, and items in the cart are lost when the user navigates away. Future, the cart will ask me if I want to save the items in the cart before I navigate away in a wish list associated with my account. The delta is there a wish list save button, wish list logic to save items that are in my cart, to a wish list that is associated with my account. Here I would attach a screenshot, a model, or a wireframe. Perhaps I am just drawing. This is the cart, and I've got some items, and then I've got a button, and that button is telling me save to wish list, or asking me, right? And that's the feature that I wanted to have. Of course, I think I would do a nicer job than this, but that's the basic idea. Is this is my future, and the current cart would just be this cart that only has some lines but no feature, and we could call that current. Okay? Naturally, we'd do a nicer job in the real world. Acceptance criteria. The wish list will hold up to 12 items. The list will save until I empty it, or 12 months, whichever comes first. Okay? Something along those lines. You can see now that rather than just saying the system shall have a wish list, and then having the system will save this wish list for 12 months, the wish list will save up to 12 items. You can see how that is so difficult and broken apart and hard to use that it just doesn't lead one to communicate very well. It's a very stilted way of talking, and here's a way for me to identify something, save it for my team, and then have them be able to refer to it. Oh, this is add wish list to cart. Yeah, I know all of the things that need to happen there. And anything that you would want to attach here, GIFs or JPEGs, for that I could represent that with a paperclip shape. We could attach images or documents or examples of other organizations or e-commerce sites wish lists and carts and see how those things worked. Talk about what we would like to do differently or better than them. There's a rich fabric for us to communicate with when using a user story in this way. And I just wanted to share this with you so you'd have some reference, and I think we'll use this in class. We'll talk about an item in our requirements package that we would like to capture some user stories for. Okay, and we'll be able to lead each other through this, both as the facilitated and as the facilitator. So thanks so much, and I'll talk to you later.